Ladies and gentlemen, as Erin just mentioned, my name is Bryce and I'm a very good friend of Craig's. As such, I'm going to say a few words on behalf of his wedding party, which is Lindsay and myself. I first met Craig 13 years ago. It was, funnily enough, it was in a riveting subject called Financial Accounting 2B at Wollongong Uni. We ended up doing a group assignment together, purely because we were sitting next to one another when we had to form groups. I'd never met him before, so it was hardly the basis. At the time, it was hardly the basis, I thought, of forming a strong friendship. Anyway, to cut a long story short, that very next Friday, a good friend of mine, Foggy, who's here tonight, invited me down to Northies for a few drinks with some of his army friends. And coincidentally, one of his army friends was Craig. So we've been good friends ever since that night. Now, over the last few weeks, I've been doing a bit of reflecting on the experiences I've shared with Craig over the years. And for me, there's a few unique characteristics that come to mind when I think about Craig. Now, normally a really good way to embarrass one of your friends is to tell some stories of what they've done under the influence of alcohol. Now, I've shared many a night out with Craig. However, what comes to mind is, even from a very young age, Craig's always had this ability to know when he's had enough to drink and stop. So he's very sensible. So unfortunately, I haven't got any such stories I can share. In the lead up to his Bucks party, I was actually really hoping he'd do something out of character that I could include in this speech. But unfortunately, he was very well behaved as usual. And even last night, for that matter, on his last ever single night, last night being single, he made a very sensible decision to be the designated driver. So we went for a few quiet drinks at Club Manor. Yeah. So I guess apart from being single, I mean it's not single, sensible. I'm sure most people would in this room would agree he's got a very easygoing personality. This personality trait has made him an ideal travel companion for myself. As such, we've done 3 overseas trips together. In 2005, when we were both quite young, we went to South America. We travelled through Argentina and Chile. 2010, we travelled through the US and Canada. Then I moved to the UK for a couple of years, and in 2012, he came over to visit me, and then we also went to Croatia for a week, and then went to Oktoberfest. And I guess on these trips, the planning the itinerary was always very easy, as Craig generally would go along with whatever I suggested. And even planning our Croatian trip in 2012 was a relatively straightforward exercise. Now, while he is very easygoing, I can think of the odd occasion where his behaviour hasn't been so easygoing. One of these instances occurred on our 2010 adventure in the US in Canada. Now, early on this trip, we stayed at a number of very average hostels that were no fun at all, basically. About 2/3 of the way through, we arrived at the Miami Beach International Hostel, situated on the world-famous South Beach. Now, we spent 3 nights at this hostel, and night to night the itinerary didn't change much. Basically, about 7 or 8 p.m, all the guests staying in the hostel would meet in the common area and then play drinking games for the next 3 or 4 hours. Then about 11 p.m, a Hummer would come and pick up the guests and take them to a nearby club. Now, I might add, at the time me and Craig were in our late 20s. We were quite a bit older than the other guests there. Some weren't even old enough to legally drink in the US. But that didn't stop us getting into thicker things when it came to the drinking games. Now, we played a number of drinking games, but one game was by far and away the most popular and played probably 90% of the time, and its name was King's Cup. Now, if you don't know what King's Cup is, sometimes it can go by a different name. It can be called Four Kings, King of Beers, Ring of Fire, or just simply Kings. But whatever the name is, the objective is always the same. You've got a set of playing cards. Each card has a rule assigned to it. Everyone takes a turn of pulling a card, and if you pull a king, basically you've got to empty whatever's left of your drink into a jug. Then the unlucky person who pulls the fourth king has to drink the entire jug. Anyway, it's a great game. You're always on the edge of your seat, not wanting to pull that fourth king. Anyway, the first two nights went by. I had a great time, and I assume Craig did too. So much so that on the third morning, I go to Craig, it was a great night last night, wasn't it? But his response wasn't quite what I thought it would be. Basically, he goes, "I'll tell you the truth, I've got a bit sick of playing King's Cup." Anyway, I didn't read too much into his comments, and I figured he must have just been in a bad mood. The third night rolled around. You'll never guess what game we played. King's Cup. The first 7 games of King's Cup went by without incident. Everyone, including Craig, was having a great time. And then got to game 8. And it was Craig's turn to pull a card. But he just sat there and didn't move. So I go to Craig, Craig, it's your turn, pull a card. And he abruptly fired back, "No, I'm not playing King's Cup." Everyone playing the game just stopped dead. There was just utter disbelief. He doesn't want to play King's Cup? After about 30 seconds of awkward silence, one of the girls playing the game goes, "Okay, what do you want to play then?" To which he responded, "I don't care, but I'm not playing King's Cup." And he slammed his fist down on the table. All the drinks spilled everywhere. Playing cards were flying around the room. Needless to say, there were no more drinking games played that night. Honestly, I don't think the Miami Beach International Hostel was ever the same again.
Good on you, Craig.
So anyway, that previous story illustrates he's not always the easygoing personality that we know him for. Now, Adrienne, if I've got any advice on how to make sure you have a successful marriage, you probably don't want to initiate a game of King's Cup. On a more serious note though, the characteristic I like the most about Craig is he's a very loyal friend, he's reliable. Whenever I organise a social event, I know he'll be there. As I mentioned earlier, he made the effort to come and visit me when I was living in the UK, so that meant a lot to me. A few years ago, Adrienne came into his life. I really enjoyed getting to know Adrienne and watched their relationship grow. Here we are tonight at their wedding. And I think Craig's made a really good choice, as Adrienne's a lovely girl and they make a wonderful couple.
Does she play King's Cup?
And in summing up, I just want to say how much or how important Craig's friendship is to me. I know I speak on behalf of Lindsay and all of Craig's friends here tonight, saying how much we value his friendship. I'm so happy for Craig and Adrienne. Congratulations, and I look forward to sharing many more memories with you both in the future as a married couple. And before I hand things back to Erin, I just want, can everyone please stand up and raise their glasses? As I'm going to propose a toast to the bride and groom. Okay. To Craig and Adrienne. Okay, I'll hand it back to Erin now.
Thank you, Bryce. Craig was lucky enough to grow up with two sisters, myself and